Hey, this is Journey of Me. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I will show you guys how to install a USB port onto your motorcycle. I today will do this with my Yamaha XJ, but I think it should be a pretty universal guide. I'm doing this in preparation for my big motorcycle trip through Europe, so I can always have electricity on my motorcycle. If you also want to have your electricity on your motorcycle, follow this guide. So this is the product we are going to be using today. This is our USB port. It has 1 meter of cable right here, and also this is where you plug in your electricity. It has an on and off switch, so it doesn't drain the battery. And yeah, that's the product basically. For putting it onto the motorcycle 12 volt battery, we're going to use this with this fuse. This is a tube fuse for 10 ampere. This is our mount. This is how we will mount it to the handlebars. And this is some duct tape to tape it underneath my tank. Let's go. First of all, when working on something electric, always take out the key out of the ignition and then remove the seat. Now we will remove the black cable from the negative side of the battery. That's also called the mass in physics, I think. Put all your loose screws in the same spot. The frame is part of the mass of the vehicle, so I would just tape the black cable to the frame with some duct tape. Now I'm putting the little copper plates also under the battery screws as well. When doing work like this on the battery, it's really important to start with the mass, and also when rewiring the thing and putting the stuff back on, to also have the mass, the black cable, attached to it last again. That's really important, otherwise you can cause a really bad short and also damage your bike, so definitely look out for that. Actually, here I was wondering if I'm about to electrocute myself, as you can tell from the static sound. When having the cables attached to the battery, check if your USB port is working. Now we will loosen the tank screws to make the tank a little bit loose. We can still leave all the fuel stuff connected. We just need it a little bit loose, so we can either slip the cable past it or tape the cable underneath it with lifting it a little bit. Now we are detangling the cable, but leave the thing where you can wrap the cable up with in your pocket in case you need it later. Now we will see how long the cable actually is, and how we can work with that. You should kind of measure that beforehand too. Now we will have to find room for the little ring of the mount to put it onto the handlebars. Also in a place where of course the USB port also fits. That's important. When you found a good place for the ring to fit, screw the screw into the ring to make it tight so that it holds onto the handlebars. Now we only have to put the USB port onto the ring. Luckily I was pretty lucky and the cable just slipped behind the fairing between the tank and the frame in a super practical position where I didn't really have to tape it to the tank that much. But for most bikes you probably have to tape it underneath the tank, which can be quite annoying. For me now it was quite practical because I could hide the rest of the cable underneath this side fairing. and could just tuck it in there and it would be fine. So that was really neat. Now I only need to tape it into place so that the seat goes down well. Now we're screwing the tank back on. Now the only thing left to do is to tape the cable away from the frame so it doesn't get a lot of engine heat. Using something like zip ties can be more beautiful here. I just used some brown duct tape that looks a bit ugly, but I didn't care. So if you want to have it more pretty, use black zip ties. Now my bike has working electricity.